when your living area is messy and suddenly the doorbell rings. If you're like me, you will look around the room really quickly, grab as much stuff as possible, and hide them away in the closet, right? My name is Dr. Lulu, aka the Momatrician. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I identify as queer. I'm also a pediatrician, a parent ally, and a parent coach. Today, we're going to rethink the closet and explore a different process for sharing our lives as LGBTQ plus persons. During this talk, I shall interchange LGBTQ plus with the word queer, which is currently an acceptable umbrella term for members of the community. When I was only 16, I told Uchenna I of Umeh, aka my beloved, very traditional Nigerian Catholic Igbo father, that I liked girls. He shook his head and waved it off and told me it was just a phase. So I did what many children would do. I believed him. But I struggled with fear, anxiety, and shame about my sexuality and just had a hard time coming to terms with who I really was. However, I grew up, got married to my now ex-husband, had 3 beautiful babies, and did my very best to ignore my attraction to women. I failed woefully. I had always suspected that my eldest child, who was assigned a male sex at birth, was gay. Some parents just do. Calm down. But like many families, we never talked about it at home. Not until the summer of 2020, at the award ceremony of the graduation from Stanford University. The announcer kept saying they this and them that about my queer kiddo, about my kiddo. Puzzled, I asked, son, I thought you're the only one that's getting the award. Who are all these people this man is talking about? That was when I learned about the non-binary gender and the they-them pronouns came in my orbit. Bam. Even as a queer person myself, I wasn't having any of that. So my reaction was to push back and dig my heels in and insist on understanding exactly what was happening. Huge mistake. Today, my eldest identifies as a transgender woman, and her pronouns are she, her, hers. And like you, I wondered, why didn't she tell me about this when she was growing up? The answer is quite simple. I never created a safe enough space for her to do so. And today, I deeply regret her childhood days when I repeatedly insisted on saying, stop acting like a girl. Like me, many parents erroneously focus on first understanding rather than simply knowing. However, depending on their age and developmental stage, many children don't fully understand what's happening to them. So insisting on first understanding before affirming and supporting creates a huge obstacle in the parent-child relationship at that point. Not to make any excuses for myself, but what was happening was I was afraid, and I allowed my fears to cloud my judgment. I focused on all the negative narratives I had heard about transgender women, particularly Black transgender women. And in her own words, she said, Mom, our house was very homophobic when I was growing up. You and my ex-dad were extremely transphobic. I allowed those narratives to fuel fear, anxiety, guilt, shame, and even anger in my heart, causing her much distress and nearly costing us our relationship. So what's coming out? Coming out is more than confessing a lifelong secret or managing the reactions of others. Robert Espinosa, Vice President of Policy, PHI. When we reveal our non-heterosexual or non-gender conforming identities to the outside world, it's often referred to as coming out. But what situations do people usually come out from? Addiction, depression, poverty, toxic relationships. You get my drift. Why then are queer persons placed in this category? While coming out is a critical part of our queer experience, right? The process as it is today is centered more on the person receiving the information and not the queer person, thereby giving them the power to accept or reject us. The revelation should be about our liberation, our visibility and authenticity, but is it though? Why do we have to manage the reaction of others or even explain ourselves in order to become fully accepted? Straight folks never have to do that. There are no huge revealing announcements for them, yet for the for the queer person, not coming out feels dirty and even dishonest. Studies have shown that there are two peak periods of suicidal behavior in queer youth. When they first realize that they are indeed queer, and when they come out to their family, specifically because of the fear of rejection. Hence the often common decision to remain in the closet. But let me ask you though, whose closet is it anyway? I mean, whose great idea, what spreading was it to hide any human experience away in a closet, thereby completely invalidating our queer existence while in that space? And whose decision will it be then as to when we're allowed out? And so, like real closets, the closet metaphor has become a case of words imitating life. It serves the purpose of keeping our true selves hidden away from the public eye. We're often viewed as abnormal, unnatural, immoral, even a threat to the cisgendered heteronormative status quo. Au contraire, the reverse is the case. A huge reason why many queer folks remain silent about their identity is the clear danger that awaits us when we don't. Many of us experience anti-LGBTQ legislation, bullying, homelessness, imprisonment, moral condemnation, ostracization, homicide, amongst other things. And sadly, sometimes it comes from our own family members. As a result, up to 60% of queer persons experience mental health challenges like anxiety, depression, sexual assault, suicidal ideation, or even suicide at some point in their lives. That rate is up to 2.5 times those of their straight counterparts. And lest I forget, coming out is never a one-time thing. We must, on a daily basis, decide whether to reveal ourselves and whom to reveal it to. Pretty exhausting at the very least, if you ask me. And since you did, what if there's another way around it? For me, coming out gives the other person the power to accept or deny you. When you're inviting them in, you have the power. Caramel Brown, The Queer Eye. So what if we could completely eliminate the closet and the coming out process and replace it rather with the phrase, inviting in? In this situation, the queer person invites you, the ally, into their world. The beauty of any invitation is it centers solely on the host, who reserves the right to rescind your invite or upgrade it to a VIP status. Inviting in is about autonomy and power and privilege. It allows the queer person to first ensure that you are safe before handing you your invite. And you, on the other hand, my friend, must earn said invitation. Replacing coming out with inviting in places the queer person in the driver's seat and in full control of their lives, meaning you have no entitlements, my friend. Rather, we initiate the sharing, thus honoring our lives before and after the closet. So what if we could completely eliminate cisgendered ideologies like gender assignment at birth and allow children to be themselves? What if no one gets to decide what's normal and what's not, who we love and how we live our lives? What if you don't get to be afraid of someone and just assign them a threat status? What if? And what if we could just throw the keys to the closet away for good? Imagine that. Imagine a world where queer persons are allowed to live their lives from birth to a natural death. What a wonderful world that would be, right? And so how do we create safe spaces? How do we earn our invitations? How do you make this world a safer place for me, my child, and all LGBTQ+ persons? And there are many of us. As a February 2022, 7.1% of US adults identify as LGBTQ+. So look around the room, you never know. And so I'll tell you how. We must begin from within by embracing what I call U-squared method, and not Uchenna, Umeh, on learning the untruths about the queer community. It's not a phase like my beloved father thought. It's not a choice like many of you think. It's not the other parent like my ex-husband thought. It's not a mental illness. It's not from a sexual assault. It's none of the multiple myths, mistakes, and misconceptions about the queer community in circulation. And then secondly, you must welcome each of us as we are, as whole persons, and challenge negative narratives and moral judgments about the LGBT community, meaning seeing my child as a decent human being and not a deviant Black man. Thankfully, our relationship is on the mend and we are thriving, and I'm the only parent that she's got, so watch out. And so in closing, I'd like to invite you to embrace the inviting in process. We all have aspects of our lives that society wants us to hide. For some, it's an abortion, maybe a bankruptcy or a disability. For others, it's a mental health challenge or sexual assault or even suicidal ideation. We should be free to share ourselves only with persons that we choose. Our stories should never be forced or outed without our consent. And so everyone, take a moment and just close your eyes, humor me for a second, and imagine, just reflect on what it will mean to have a piece of your life hidden in a closet. And become kinder, more intentional, and even more mindful about people you meet, queer or not. And to the parents, well, first of all, to everyone, yes, do that, and as you do that, to the parents out there, there are multiple reasons why your child might not invite you into their queer world. Your job is to embrace your role as a parent ally, accept, affirm, and support them unconditionally, and at all costs, avoid making it about you. Yeah? Good. And to the queer person, well, actually, even for the parent, let's go back a little bit. As you unlearn your biases, do me a favor and understand that direct questions like, so is you gay or is you not gay? Or are you sure you're really transgender? Are actually not a cool way to find out if in fact your child is gay or trans. Rather, approach your child's queerness from a place of curiosity. Ask questions like, what does my child need from me right now, today? How can I make their burden lighter? How can I avoid being their first bully? Right? Yes. And to the queer person, first of all, your life has never been defined by closet walls, so own your shit. Take your power back. You reserve the right to invite whomever you choose into your rainbow world. And if you don't remember anything else, remember this. You are worthy of love, you have value, and you are enough just the way you are. And so each October, as we celebrate LGBT+ History Month, let us, especially on the 11th National Coming Out Day, let us celebrate that day and every single day all the beautiful, colorful, and complex ways we queer folks exist. So I'll leave you with this original quote. While revealing my queer identity is about my vulnerability, I get it. By coming out to you, I'm actually holding you responsible for safeguarding my special interest. But by inviting you in, I become shielded and immune and inaccessible to your ability to hurt me in my vulnerability. And so I'll ask you this. Will you earn your invitation? Je vous remercie beaucoup. Muchísimas gracias de mi corazón. Ndibanye ekene munu. Dalu no. Thank you.